One bad fall can change everything, especially when your NFL future is already hanging in the balance. That's the reality Shilo Sanders faced after a snowboarding accident in Colorado, an incident that led him to jokingly announce his retirement from the sport while still fighting to keep his professional football dream alive. And when you look at the timing, it becomes more than just a winter mishap. It becomes a reminder of how fragile an NFL career can be. At 26 years old, Sanders is not recovering from a football injury. He's recovering from a snowboarding fall at Breckenridge Ski Resort, one of the most popular destinations in the country for skiing and snowboarding. What was supposed to be a getaway turned into a moment that could have complicated his already uncertain professional path. In his recent YouTube vlog, Sanders documented the trip. He was with his childhood friend Derek and members of his family. It was his first day snowboarding in Colorado. There was excitement, there was confidence, and there was a second jump that didn't go as planned. After landing awkwardly, he immediately knew something wasn't right. He later said in the video that the fall hurt badly and admitted he hit his head, adding that it was a good thing he had a helmet on. The tone wasn't dramatic, but it was serious enough to make you pause. For a player currently without a team, that kind of moment carries weight. Sanders even joked in the vlog that he was retiring from snowboarding after the fall. It was lighthearted on the surface, but it also reflected something deeper. When you're trying to get back into the NFL and 32 teams have not extended an offer, every physical setback feels magnified. What makes the situation interesting is that Sanders previously spoke about how snowboarding helped his football conditioning. In an earlier interview with the University of Colorado, he said he believed snowboarding made him faster. He talked about balance, working his calves, and how he felt stronger during spring conditioning sessions. So this wasn't a random hobby he picked up casually. In his mind, it had athletic value. But sports can be unpredictable, especially outside your primary discipline. After the fall, Sanders underwent a medical examination to make sure the damage wasn't serious. In the vlog, he mentioned he thought he might have suffered a bone bruise. That kind of concern is understandable. A knee injury, even a minor one, can derail off-season training. Fortunately, the examination showed that his patella was swollen, but not seriously damaged. There was relief. He took a deep breath. It appears he avoided the kind of injury that could have been devastating to his professional hopes. And that's where this story becomes bigger than a snowboarding accident. Shilo Sanders is currently a free agent. He is not on an NFL roster. As the 2026 season approaches, his future remains uncertain. For a player in that position, perception matters. Availability matters. Discipline matters. Timing matters. Sanders entered the league as an undrafted free agent in 2025 after not being selected in the draft. The Tampa Bay Buccaneers gave him an opportunity. For many undrafted players, that initial chance is everything. It's not guaranteed security, but it's a door. However, his time with the Buccaneers ended before it truly began. During a preseason game, Sanders punched Buffalo Bills tight end Zach Davidson. The moment was costly. Head coach Todd Bowles responded by waiving him from the team. As a result, Sanders never made a regular season debut. For an undrafted player trying to establish credibility, that kind of incident can carry long-term consequences. Coaches want reliability. They want players who can contribute without distraction. When an opportunity ends that quickly, it becomes difficult to regain trust across the league. Throughout the 2025 season, no other team extended an offer. Now, heading into the 2026 offseason, he remains unsigned. That context changes how you look at the snowboarding fall. If Sanders were an established starter under contract, this would be a light off-season story. But as a free agent trying to convince teams he deserves another shot, every headline matters. even one about retiring from snowboarding. It also brings up a broader conversation about off-season activities. NFL players often cross-train. They box. They play basketball. They ski. They snowboard. Some organizations even include clauses about high-risk activities. The balance between personal freedom and professional responsibility is constant. In Sanders' case, he appeared to take proper precautions. He wore a helmet. He sought medical attention. He documented the entire process transparently. There was no attempt to hide what happened. That transparency might actually help him. Teams value accountability. They value maturity. If anything, the vlog showed a player aware of the stakes. He immediately checked his knee. He made sure there was no structural damage. He understood what was on the line. But the larger question remains. Why hasn't another team given him a chance? Part of it is the nature of being undrafted. The margin for error is thin. One misstep can push you to the back of the line. Another factor is depth. Every roster has competition at safety. Spots are limited. Practice squad positions are competitive. And then there's the shadow of expectations. Sanders is the middle son of Hall of Famer Deion Sanders. That last name carries weight. It brings attention. It also brings scrutiny. Fair or not, comparisons are inevitable. His younger brother, Shedeur Sanders, had a strong rookie season and even earned a Pro Bowl selection. That contrast adds another layer. In sports, timelines don't always align within families. Each journey is separate. Shilo's path has been more complicated. Being waived before a regular season debut means there isn't much professional tape for teams to evaluate. Scouts rely heavily on game reps. Without them, conversations become more speculative. So where does that leave him? Physically, it appears he will recover fully from the snowboarding fall. The swollen patella is not expected to linger. That's the positive development. Professionally, he faces an uphill battle. The NFL offseason is unpredictable. Injuries during training camp create openings. Depth chart competitions shift. Special teams needs evolve. It only takes one team to believe a player can contribute. But belief must be earned. Sanders will need to demonstrate discipline, consistency, and readiness. His athletic background suggests he has the tools. The question is whether he can align opportunity with preparation. The snowboarding incident, in isolation, is minor. In context, it serves as a reminder of how narrow the margin is for players on the edge of the league. One awkward landing, one preseason altercation, one missed opportunity. For established veterans, these moments are setbacks. For fringe players, they can be turning points. And yet, there's something else worth noting. Despite being unsigned, Sanders continues to train. He continues to stay visible. The vlog itself shows someone who hasn't stepped away from the spotlight or from competition. Even joking about retiring from snowboarding reflects a competitive mindset. He tried something challenging. It didn't go as planned. He reacted honestly. That authenticity can resonate. The NFL is filled with redemption stories. Players waived early in their careers have resurfaced years later. Sometimes maturity comes with experience. Sometimes perspective shifts after adversity. At 26, Sanders is not out of time, but he is at a crossroads. If a team calls during the offseason, he must be ready physically and mentally. That includes avoiding unnecessary risks. It includes focusing on football-specific preparation. It includes demonstrating growth from past mistakes. The punch in the preseason game is part of his story. The snowboarding fall is part of his story. Neither defines his ceiling, but both influence perception. Perception in the NFL can be as important as production. coaches and general managers evaluate not only talent but temperament. They ask whether a player adds stability to a locker room. They consider whether he can handle pressure. Sanders has experienced pressure from a young age. Growing up in a football family brings expectations. It also builds resilience. Now the challenge is converting resilience into opportunity. There's also the financial and emotional reality of being a free agent. Training without a contract requires faith. It requires discipline without immediate reward. Not every player can sustain that uncertainty. The fact that Sanders continues pursuing an NFL return suggests he still believes in his ability. And perhaps that belief is the most important factor. Because in the NFL, circumstances can change quickly. An injury to a starting safety during training camp could open a door. A team seeking depth on special teams might make a call. A workout invite could lead to a practice squad spot. The league moves fast, but it also remembers. Teams will remember the preseason incident. They will evaluate whether enough time has passed and whether growth has occurred. They will assess his health after the snowboarding scare. They will measure his speed, strength, and discipline. Everything becomes part of the evaluation. For now, what we know is this. Shilo Sanders avoided a serious injury at Breckenridge. He is expected to recover fully. He remains unsigned, and the 2026 season looms ahead. The snowboarding retirement may have been lighthearted, but his football future is no joke. So here's the bigger question. Does a player in his position double down and focus exclusively on football, eliminating all potential risks? Or does maintaining a balanced life and cross-training actually enhance performance and mental clarity? That debate isn't unique to Sanders. It applies to many athletes navigating uncertain careers. As fans, it's easy to judge moments in isolation. A fall on the snow, a punch in a preseason game, a waiver notice. But careers are rarely linear. Sanders' journey has taken unexpected turns already. Being undrafted, signing with Tampa Bay, being waived, spending a season without a team, now recovering from an offseason scare. Each chapter adds complexity. The next chapter depends on preparation meeting opportunity. If he secures a contract before the 2026 season, the narrative shifts to redemption and persistence. If he doesn't, questions about retirement from football may become more serious than a joke about snowboarding. For now, there is relief. Relief that the knee is intact. Relief that the fall was not career-ending. Relief that the door, however narrow, remains open. And sometimes in the NFL, that's enough. The margin between staying in the league and stepping away can be thinner than a layer of fresh snow. Shilo Sanders learned that the hard way on a mountain in Colorado. The question now is whether he can use that lesson to stabilize his footing in professional football. What do you think matters more for a player in Shilo Sanders' situation? Raw talent, proven discipline, or simply the right opportunity at the right time?